Stop. Step away from your dog's food bowl. What you're about to hear could save their life. You might think you're feeding them something harmless, but what if I told you that one bite could lead to vomiting, seizures, or even sudden death? Every year, thousands of loving pet owners unknowingly poison their dogs, all because of common food sitting in their kitchen right now. And the worst part? Some of these deadly foods are disguised as healthy treats. Stay with me, because number one on this list has killed more dogs than you can imagine. And it might be in your fridge right now. As loving pet owners, we do everything we can to keep our dogs happy, healthy, and safe. But what if I told you that some of the most dangerous threats to your dog's health aren't lurking outside, but inside your own home? What if I told you that the simple act of sharing a snack could lead to vomiting, seizures, or even an emergency rush to the vet? The truth is, many popular human foods are secretly toxic to dogs, and the consequences can be devastating. But here's the problem. Most pet owners have no idea until it's too late. That's where I come in. I've spent years studying pet nutrition, researching veterinary cases, and uncovering the hidden killers in everyday foods. And today, I'm going to reveal the 10 most dangerous foods that could be silently poisoning your dog. Now, before we dive in, I want to hear from you. What's the strangest thing your dog has ever eaten? Maybe it was a sock, a shoe, or even something worse. Let me know in the comments because, trust me, you're not alone. Dogs have a way of getting into things they shouldn't. In this video, we'll go through 10 common foods, explain exactly why they're dangerous, and most importantly, tell you what to do if your dog accidentally eats them. Because knowledge isn't just power, it's the difference between a minor stomach ache and a life-threatening emergency. And don't go anywhere, because number one on this list has been responsible for countless canine deaths. And chances are, it's already in your kitchen. Number 10. Grapes and raisins, a silent killer in disguise. They're small, sweet, and seem totally harmless. After all, if they're healthy for us, they should be fine for dogs. Right? Wrong. Grapes and raisins are one of the most mysterious and deadliest foods for dogs. What makes them so dangerous? No one knows exactly why. Even veterinarians and scientists are still trying to figure it out. But what they do know is this: even 1 or 2 grapes could send your dog into kidney failure. Take this real-life case, for example. A golden retriever named Max got into a small bowl of raisins left on the counter. His owners didn't think much of it. After all, it was just fruit. But within hours, Max started vomiting uncontrollably, became sluggish, and refused to drink water. By the time they rushed him to the vet, his kidneys were shutting down. He was fighting for his life, all because of a handful of raisins. Here's what happens when a dog eats grapes or raisins: vomiting, diarrhea, loss of appetite, and extreme lethargy. But the scariest part? The symptoms don't always show up right away. Some dogs seem fine at first, until their kidneys start completely failing hours or even days later. And by then, the damage is often irreversible. So what do you do if your dog gets into grapes or raisins? Act immediately. Even if they only ate a few, don't wait for symptoms. Call your vet or pet poison control right away. The sooner you act, the better their chances. Your vet may induce vomiting or start emergency fluids to flush out toxins before they cause permanent damage. Now, if you thought grapes were bad, wait until you hear about number 9. It's a hidden ingredient in so many foods, and even a tiny amount can send your dog into a seizure or coma. You might have it in your kitchen right now, and you'd never even suspect it. Number 9. Xylitol, the hidden killer in your kitchen. Imagine giving your dog a small spoonful of peanut butter as a treat, just like you've done 100 times before. They lick it up happily, wagging their tail, but within minutes, something is horribly wrong. They collapse. Their body starts shaking. Their eyes glaze over. You rush them to the vet, but by the time you arrive, it's already too late. What happened? Xylitol happened. Xylitol is an artificial sweetener found in sugar-free gum, candy, baked goods, and even some peanut butter brands. And for dogs, it's one of the most toxic substances they can ingest. Unlike humans, who process xylitol normally, A dog's body mistakes it for real sugar and reacts by releasing a massive amount of insulin. This causes their blood sugar to drop dangerously low, leading to seizures, liver failure, and if not treated in time, death. Here's the scariest part: it only takes a tiny amount. Just 1 or 2 pieces of sugar-free gum can be enough to kill a small dog. And unlike other toxins, the effects happen fast, within 10 to 60 minutes. A Labrador named Bella got into her owner's purse and chewed through a pack of gum. Within 30 minutes, she started stumbling, her body shaking uncontrollably. By the time they got to the emergency vet, Bella was already in a coma. She didn't make it. And the worst part? Her owner had no idea that sugar-free gum was deadly. If your dog eats anything that might contain xylitol, don't wait for symptoms. Get them to a vet immediately. If caught early, the effects can sometimes be reversed with 4-glucose therapy. But every minute matters. Symptoms include weakness, vomiting, tremors, seizures, and collapse. If you even suspect they ate something with xylitol, call your vet right away. But xylitol isn't the only ingredient in your kitchen that could kill your dog. Up next, we've got food that's so common, and it's probably in your next meal. And just one bite, it can destroy their blood cells from the inside out. Stay with me, you don't want to miss this one. Number 8. Onions and garlic, the slow, silent poison. Think about the last meal you cooked. Maybe it was a stir-fry, a burger, or even homemade soup. There's a good chance you used onions or garlic to add flavor. They're in almost everything: seasonings, sauces, leftovers. But what if I told you that just a small amount of these common ingredients could silently destroy your dog's red blood cells, leading to anemia, organ failure, and even death? And the scariest part? The damage doesn't always happen right away. Onions, garlic, chives, and leeks belong to the allium family, and for dogs, they're extremely toxic. When a dog eats them, a compound called thiosulfate starts breaking down their red blood cells. This means less oxygen gets carried through their body, leading to weakness, lethargy, and even collapse. Unlike some poisons that act fast, onions and garlic can take days to show symptoms. That means you might not even realize what's happening until it's too late. A woman in California loved cooking and always shared small bites of her meals with her dog, Charlie. One night, she gave him a few pieces of her garlic-seasoned steak. The next morning, Charlie seemed fine. But 3 days later, he suddenly became weak, refused to eat, and his gums turned pale white. By the time she rushed him to the vet, Charlie's red blood cell count had dropped dangerously low. He needed an emergency blood transfusion to survive. If your dog eats onions or garlic, act fast. Symptoms include weakness, vomiting, rapid breathing, pale gums, and dark-colored urine. But remember, symptoms might not show up for a day or two. If you suspect your dog ate any form of onions or garlic, raw, cooked, powdered, or even in broth, call your vet immediately. Your vet may induce vomiting, give activated charcoal to absorb toxins, or, in severe cases, start a blood transfusion to replace the damaged red blood cells. The sooner you act, the better their chances. But onions and garlic aren't the only kitchen dangers. Up next, we have food that is so deadly that even a small square could send your dog into heart failure. And you've definitely got it in your house right now. Number 7. Chocolate, a sweet treat that can turn deadly. You're sitting on the couch, enjoying a piece of chocolate, and your dog gives you those eyes. The big, pleading, just one bite eyes. And you think, what's the harm? It's just a little piece, right? Wrong. That one small piece could mean the difference between life and death. Chocolate is one of the most well-known toxic foods for dogs, yet thousands of dogs are rushed to the vet every year because of it. Some owners assume that just because chocolate is safe for humans, it must be safe for dogs. But the truth is, chocolate contains a hidden danger, one that their bodies can't handle. The culprit? A compound called theobromine. It's similar to caffeine and affects a dog's nervous system and heart. Unlike humans, dogs can't metabolize it quickly, which means it stays in their system for a long time, building up to dangerous levels. The darker the chocolate, the more theobromine it contains. Dark chocolate and baking chocolate are the worst offenders, Just a few ounces could trigger seizures, a racing heart, internal bleeding, or even a fatal heart attack. Take the case of Buddy, a playful Labrador who found a bag of dark chocolate truffles while his owner was out. By the time they got home, the bag was empty. At first, Buddy seemed fine. But within an hour, he started pacing restlessly, drooling excessively, and breathing heavily. His heart was racing. Soon after, he collapsed. His owner rushed him to the emergency vet, where he had to be given medication to stabilize his heart and flush the toxins from his body. He survived, but only because his owner acted fast. If your dog eats chocolate, time is critical. Symptoms can appear within 30 minutes to a few hours and include restlessness, vomiting, diarrhea, excessive panting, muscle tremors, rapid heartbeat, and seizures. In severe cases, it can cause coma or death. What should you do? Call your vet immediately. If it's been less than 2 hours, your vet may induce vomiting to get the chocolate out before it's fully absorbed. In severe cases, they might need to administer fluids or medications to control the symptoms. But if you thought chocolate was bad, wait until you hear about number 6. It's not just a treat, it's a drink that millions of people consume every single day. And even a sip could be lethal to your dog. Number 6. Caffeine and alcohol, the drinks that can kill. You wake up, pour yourself a hot cup of coffee, and set it on the table. Your dog jumps up, sniffing curiously. What's the harm in a little sip? Or maybe later, you're winding down with a glass of wine, and your dog sneaks a quick lick. No big deal, right? Wrong. Caffeine and alcohol are some of the most underestimated killers for dogs. What gives us energy or helps us relax can send a dog's body into complete shutdown. Let's start with caffeine. Found in coffee, tea, soda, and energy drinks, caffeine contains methylxanthines, the same toxic compounds found in chocolate. But here's the problem. Dogs are far more sensitive to caffeine than humans. Even small amounts can overstimulate their heart, causing a dangerous spike in blood pressure, tremors, and seizures. And then there's alcohol. A few sips of beer, wine, or liquor might not affect a human, but for a dog, it's like drinking poison. Alcohol affects dogs' livers and brains much faster than it does in people, leading to disorientation, vomiting, difficulty breathing, and, in extreme cases, coma or death. One night, a couple hosted a party and left their half-empty wine glasses on the floor. Their small dog, Luna, unknowingly licked up the leftovers. Within an hour, she was stumbling, struggling to stand, and her breathing became shallow. Panicked, her owners rushed her to the emergency vet, where she had to be placed on oxygen and fluids to prevent her organs from shutting down. Luna survived, but only after 48 hours of intensive care. If your dog consumes caffeine or alcohol, the first signs might be restlessness, vomiting, or an increased heart rate. As the toxins spread, they may start panting excessively, trembling, or even collapsing. With alcohol poisoning, symptoms can progress to lethargy, disorientation, and seizures. So what should you do? Call your vet immediately. If caught early, they may induce vomiting to remove the toxins before they're fully absorbed. In severe cases, dogs need fluids and hospitalization to stabilize their body systems. But caffeine and alcohol aren't the only things that can leave your dog fighting for their life. Up next, we have a food so deceptive that it looks completely harmless, but it can cause paralysis in just a few hours. And worst of all, you might be feeding it to your dog without even realizing it. Number 5. Macadamia nuts. The snack that can paralyze. You're snacking on a handful of macadamia nuts, maybe tossing a few into some cookies. Your dog sits beside you, watching, waiting. It's just a nut, right? No big deal. But here's what most dog owners don't realize. Macadamia nuts can cause sudden paralysis in dogs. One small bite could leave them unable to stand, shaking uncontrollably, and in excruciating pain. Unlike chocolate or alcohol, macadamia nuts aren't toxic to humans, so many owners assume they're safe for dogs. They're not. Scientists still don't fully understand why, but what they do know is that macadamia nuts attack a dog's nervous system. Even just a few nuts can cause weakness, tremors, vomiting, and severe pain. And the effects aren't immediate. Symptoms can take 6 to 12 hours to appear, making it even harder to connect the dots. By the time you realize something's wrong, your dog could already be in serious trouble. A family in Florida had no idea macadamia nuts were toxic. One afternoon, they left a bowl of macadamia nut cookies on the counter. Their curious golden retriever, Jake, managed to snatch a few when no one was looking. A few hours later, he collapsed. His back legs weren't working. He was panting, trembling, and whining in pain. Completely paralyzed. Terrified, his owners rushed him to the emergency vet. The doctors confirmed that macadamia nut poisoning was to blame. Luckily, with fluids and supportive care, Jake recovered. But not every dog is so lucky. If your dog eats macadamia nuts, watch for weakness, especially in the back legs, vomiting, tremors, fever, and intense pain. In severe cases, they may collapse and become completely unable to move. What should you do? Call your vet immediately. While most dogs recover within 24 to 48 hours with proper treatment, some can develop severe complications, especially if they eat a large amount or have other health issues. Your vet may give them 4 fluids, pain relievers, and medications to help flush out the toxins. But macadamia nuts aren't the only hidden danger in your kitchen. Up next, we have food so common many dog owners think it's completely safe, but in reality, it can cause deadly pancreatitis and excruciating stomach pain. And chances are, you've probably fed it to your dog before, without even realizing the risk. Number 4. Avocado, the healthy snack that can harm. Avocados. They're packed with vitamins, heart-healthy fats, and fiber. They've been called a superfood for humans. But for dogs? They can be a slow-acting poison. Many pet owners have no idea that this creamy green fruit can put their dogs in danger. And the worst part? You might not see the damage until it's too late. Avocados contain a toxin called persin, a fungicidal compound found in the flesh, skin, pit, and even the leaves of the avocado tree. While small amounts of avocado flesh may not be immediately deadly to dogs, persin can cause vomiting, diarrhea, and pancreatitis, an excruciatingly painful condition where the pancreas becomes inflamed. And it's not just the toxin that's a threat. The avocado pit itself is a choking hazard and can cause a dangerous blockage in your dog's intestines, requiring emergency surgery. Take the case of a border collie named Daisy. Her owner, a health-conscious chef, would make avocado toast every morning, often letting Daisy lick the leftover bits. At first, she seemed fine. But over time, she started experiencing severe stomach pain, vomiting, and a bloated belly. When her owner finally took her to the vet, Daisy was diagnosed with pancreatitis, likely triggered by the high-fat content of avocados. She spent days in recovery, hooked up to 4 fluids and medications. The vet told her owner that if she had continued feeding Daisy avocado, she might not have survived. If your dog eats avocado, watch for vomiting, diarrhea, difficulty breathing, and signs of abdominal pain. Pancreatitis can develop slowly, so if your dog has been exposed to avocado frequently, look for lethargy, bloating, and loss of appetite. And if they swallow the pit? That's a medical emergency. If the pit gets stuck in the intestines, it can lead to a painful and life-threatening blockage that requires surgery. What should you do? Call your vet immediately. If it's a small amount, they may monitor your dog for symptoms. But if they swallowed a pit or show signs of distress, they may need urgent medical attention. But if you thought avocado was dangerous, wait until you hear about number 3. It's a food that seems completely harmless, something that even your dog may beg for at the dinner table. But once inside their stomach, it can expand and turn into a deadly, toxic substance. And it's more common than you think. Number 3. Raw dough with yeast, the silent killer that grows inside. Picture this. You're baking fresh bread or homemade pizza. You step away for just a second, and when you come back, the raw dough you left on the counter is gone. Your dog licked the bowl clean. No big deal, right? It's just flour and water. What's the worst that could happen? But what most dog owners don't realize is that raw dough with yeast doesn't just sit in your dog's stomach. It keeps growing, expanding, fermenting, and it can turn into a fatal situation within hours. Here's what happens inside your dog's body. Yeast thrives in warm, moist environments, exactly like your dog's stomach. Once ingested, the dough starts expanding, stretching its stomach like a balloon. In some cases, it can grow so large that it cuts off blood flow to vital organs, leading to a life-threatening condition called gastric dilation volvulus, or bloat. But that's not the only danger. As the yeast ferments, it releases alcohol into the bloodstream. Yes, actual ethanol, the same thing found in beer and liquor. This can lead to alcohol poisoning, which affects your dog's nervous system, causing confusion, seizures, and even respiratory failure. Take the case of Rocky, a Labrador who managed to eat a large lump of bread dough left rising on the counter. At first, his owners thought he just had an upset stomach. But within hours, his belly swelled to twice its normal size. He struggled to breathe, became disoriented, and then collapsed. By the time they got him to the vet, his stomach had twisted, a deadly condition requiring immediate surgery. Rocky barely survived. If your dog eats raw dough, don't wait. Symptoms include a bloated belly, excessive drooling, weakness, vomiting, disorientation, and difficulty breathing. In severe cases, they may collapse or go into a coma. What should you do? Call your vet immediately. If caught early, they may induce vomiting to prevent further expansion. In more serious cases, your dog may need emergency surgery to remove the bloated mass before it cuts off circulation. The key is acting fast. But raw dough isn't the only hidden danger in your kitchen. Up next, we have something that seems completely harmless, a simple treat that dogs love. But one wrong bite could shatter into razor-sharp pieces inside their stomach, leading to internal bleeding and emergency surgery. And chances are, you've fed it to your dog before, without knowing the risk. Number 2. Cooked bones, a deadly trap in disguise. For generations, we've seen it in movies, cartoons, and even in real life. Dogs happily gnawing on a bone, tail wagging, completely content. It seems natural, right? Dogs love bones. But what if I told you that one wrong bite could send your dog straight into emergency surgery? Not all bones are safe. In fact, cooked bones are one of the most dangerous things you can give your dog. Here's why. When bones are cooked, they become brittle and fragile. Instead of staying solid, they can shatter into razor-sharp splinters as your dog chews. These shards can cause serious internal injuries, puncturing the mouth, throat, stomach, or intestines. And if a large piece gets swallowed whole, it can get stuck in the digestive tract, causing a dangerous and painful blockage that requires emergency surgery. Meet Bailey, a playful German shepherd whose owner gave him a leftover chicken bone after dinner. He chewed it up excitedly, but within an hour, he started whimpering and gagging. He refused to eat, paced anxiously, and then suddenly collapsed. His owner rushed him to the vet, where an X-ray revealed sharp bone fragments lodged in his stomach. Bailey had to undergo emergency surgery to remove the pieces before they tore through his intestines. His owner thought he was giving him a treat, but it almost cost Bailey his life. If your dog eats a cooked bone, watch for signs of distress. These include excessive drooling, gagging, vomiting, bloody stool, trouble breathing, or restlessness. If a bone fragment punctures the intestines, symptoms may include lethargy, a swollen belly, or intense pain when touched. What should you do? First, don't panic. If your dog swallowed a small, smooth bone, your vet might recommend monitoring them and feeding soft foods to help it pass. But if there are any signs of choking, distress, or pain, get to a vet immediately. If a bone splinter is stuck, only surgery can save them. And here's the key: never give your dog cooked bones. If you want to give them a bone, make sure it's a raw bone that's appropriately sized for their breed. Raw bones are much safer and don't splinter like cooked ones do. But if you thought cooked bones were bad, wait until you hear about number 1, the most dangerous food of all. A food that has taken the lives of thousands of dogs. And it's something you might have in your home right now. Number 1. Antifreeze contaminated water. The silent, sweet killer. Imagine this. It's a cold winter morning. Your dog trots into the garage or driveway, sniffing around, looking for something interesting. They find a small puddle of liquid, maybe near your car, maybe dripping from an old container. They take a few curious licks. And in that moment, their fate is sealed. You don't see it happen. You don't hear them whimper or cry. But within hours, your dog is dying. And you have no idea why. This is the terrifying reality of antifreeze poisoning. Antifreeze contains ethylene glycol, a deadly chemical used in car engines to prevent freezing. Here's the scary part: it tastes sweet. That means dogs don't see it as a poison, they see it as a treat. Even just a teaspoon is enough to kill a small dog. Larger dogs might survive a little longer, but the outcome is often the same: kidney failure, seizures, and death. And the real danger? The symptoms don't show up right away. By the time you realize something's wrong, the damage is already done. One winter, a family's golden retriever, Sam, went outside for his usual backyard run. When he came back in, everything seemed normal. But a few hours later, he started acting strangely, stumbling, disoriented, and excessively thirsty. His owners thought he was just tired. By the next morning, Sam couldn't stand. His kidneys were shutting down. He died before they even made it to the vet. Later, they found the source: a tiny puddle of antifreeze in their driveway. If you suspect your dog has licked antifreeze, there is no time to waste. You have less than 8 hours to act before irreversible kidney failure sets in. The early signs include stumbling like they're drunk, extreme thirst, vomiting, and lethargy. As it progresses, they may experience seizures, rapid breathing, and coma. What should you do? Get to a vet immediately. There is an antidote, but it must be administered as soon as possible. Your vet may also use 4 fluids to help flush the toxins out before they cause permanent damage. But the longer you wait, the slimmer the chances. To protect your dog, always check for leaks under your car, keep antifreeze bottles tightly sealed, and never let your dog drink from unknown puddles. Even a few drops can be fatal. Now that you know the 10 most dangerous foods for dogs, there's still one more danger most pet owners overlook. It's not food, but it's something your dog comes in contact with every day. And it might be even deadlier than everything on this list. Click the next video to find out. We've covered 10 of the most dangerous foods for dogs. Some of them you probably knew, but others may have completely shocked you. Let's do a quick recap, because this knowledge could save your dog's life. Number 10. Grapes and raisins. Just a few can trigger deadly kidney failure. Number 9. Xylitol, the hidden sweetener that can cause a dog's blood sugar to crash within minutes. Number 8. Onions and garlic, harmless to humans, but a slow-acting poison for dogs. Number 7. Chocolate, the sweet treat that can send your dog into heart failure. Number 6. Caffeine and alcohol, what fuels humans can shut down a dog's nervous system. Number 5. Macadamia nuts, a handful can lead to paralysis. Number 4. Avocado, a superfood for us, but a silent killer for pets. Number 3. Raw dough with yeast, expands inside your dog's stomach, leading to bloat and alcohol poisoning. Number 2. Cooked bones, they splinter like glass, causing deadly internal injuries. Number 1. Antifreeze-contaminated water, the sweet poison that works silently, until it's too late. So now that you know the 10 most dangerous foods for dogs, I want to hear from you. Which one shocked you the most? Was it something you fed your dog before, not realizing the risk? Tell me in the comments. I'll be reading every single one. And before you go, if you love your dog, you'll definitely want to check out this next video. Police car light, what your dog's sleeping position means and reveals about them. Police car light. You'd be surprised. Your dog's favorite sleeping position can tell you everything about their health, emotions, and even how much they trust you. Click on the video now, and I'll see you over there.